real quick, and yeah, this is we have had 111 guest speakers, 382 members have landed jobs through AHF, and we are 3,000 plus members on LinkedIn, and that number is still ascending. That is awesome news. Congratulations, everybody who volunteers here. Danny, I wish you were here. I would congratulate you personally, but everyone who's been here from the beginning or been here from near the beginning, um, that's a landmark. That's a milestone. That's awesome. And it's only going to keep going up because the fruit is good here. This is a beautiful garden and it's only going to get bigger. And with that said, we have a wonderful guest speaker today. And she is a very, very bright woman and a very, very loving, caring, forgiving, and understanding woman. And she's in the trenches. She she looks people in the eye and she can see the struggle, and she's come up with ways to aid people in the moments that you don't really think about until you're in them, and then you realize you don't have any skill sets to deal with them. And instead of me going on about it, I'm just going to let the woman herself speak. Lou, have at it.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, thank you. Yes, I mean, I think it's really important to know that we've all had those transitions. I mean, I've pivoted a number of times personally. I remember when I was trying to transition from teaching to something else, and all the doors were closed because I was labeled a teacher and nobody wanted to open those doors for me. My husband lost his job right as we were having our third, and he was unemployed for a year. And I saw the toll that it took on him, and emotionally, and how he felt like his self-worth was not there, right? Because he wasn't. I think, part of it is being a man, and they want to provide for the family. Part of it is we identify with our job, and that takes a huge toll. And so today I want to do like two things. One is, yes, give you tools and inspire you, but I also want to be real. And because the growth and the tools only work if we acknowledge what we really feel inside. Because sometimes, especially in those things, right, we try to shove it. We try to quiet it and feel like, no, I just have to be strong. I just have to keep going. Great. I agree. Right. But at the same time, if you keep shoving the real feelings, it makes it even harder. So the beginning of our session today, and I'm going to share my screen, I want to talk about the raw stuff. And then we're going to talk about how do you navigate that? What are some of the things you can do to really distance yourself from that? And also, when things are hard, what are the tools you can use to really just have a better day? So that's my intention for today. I'm going to share my screen. Let me
Please feel free.
see.
Yeah.
And okay, this should be it. Let me know if you have it. Okay, awesome. All right. So, yes, today is really about navigating rejection, how to keep showing up for yourself, right, as you do this job search, and your family. If you'll give me just 1 second, I apologize. Interruption. I am a mom of three, and I have a teenager that's out the door, locked out. I just need to open the garage. Here we go. So here we go. Life, right? This is life. All right. So I want to talk about the real version of you today, and that's why I want to talk about the in between. And because I know how I've seen it firsthand, and my husband is actually going to go through another job transition right now because his company is closing the department. And so I'm in the trenches with you. What can I say? But as the wife. And so I want to talk about the in between. And I know how exhausting it can be because sometimes you feel like you're sending one application after another, but like it feels like you're sending it into a black hole. And or you're crafting that perfect cover letter hoping it's going to get noticed, right? You're getting your hopes up, and or maybe you make it to the third round of interviews and then you hear nothing for weeks, right? And this is hard. I want to be real with you. Or it means waking up every morning, right, and trying to somehow get yourself motivated, right? Even though you felt like I did all this work yesterday, but it felt like a complete waste. Or it's showing up. I know, like I said, we have kids, right? They're showing up at the dinner table and you look at your family and you feel like you can't carry the weight you want to be carrying. You feel like you may be failing them. You don't even know who you are anymore. And that's real too, right? And the reason I want to name those things, I'm going to ask you if you feel comfortable to share them in the chat. I want you to name those things because it's not about pretending everything is great. It's not about just staying positive. The point of that is when you name those things and you allow yourself to feel those things first, it allows you to release the grip and the weight of those things. And that's what I want to do. And so when we name it, it allows us actually to let go of the hold that it has on us. It's no longer part of you. And that's one of the biggest things I learned from my own mentor. Some of you may know him. It was Bob Proctor. And he always said, when I'm dealing with a problem, I put it on paper. Because when the problem is on paper, it's no longer part of me. And honestly, I never realized how powerful that was, but it is. It makes a shift because no longer it doesn't hold you anymore. It doesn't grab you anymore. It's part of the paper. And you can look at it a little bit with a little bit more distance. So before we start everything, I want you to take a minute and name it. Put it on paper. Get it out of you. So take a pen and paper and write it down. Name it. What is it that that's really weighing on you right now? And maybe you haven't allowed yourself to feel it. Okay, I'm gonna switch to the next thing because I want to also, as you write this down, I want to make sure you'll remember, right? In the weight of it all, right? The job market can really feel broken because in many ways it is, but I'm not about blaming, and that's why I want to be careful in the way I phrase this, right? It can feel broken. However, you're not, okay? And the ghosted applications, right? All of this is just a reflection of a flawed system, not your value. However, the brain tends to tell you it's about you, okay? But I want you to remember it's not about your value. And how long it takes you to get that job is just the job market. It is not about your worth. So no matter what it is, I never want you to lose sight of that, okay? And now I want to also explain why rejection really hurts. A lot of the time, we say things like, I'll move on, don't take it personally if you were passed on or if you're never heard back, right? Yes, move on. but I want to be real because when you look at neuroscience, actually, rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. Brain studies have shown that social rejection and physical pain light up the same regions in your brain. So when you get a rejection or when you hear nothing, it actually physically hurts. And it does because your brain is processing it as a genuine wound. And so that alone, I want you to feel like validated. You shouldn't feel wrong for feeling like I feel it hurts. It's normal that it hurts and it's okay that it hurts. Okay. But like I mentioned earlier, part of the challenge is a lot of us identify with our jobs, right? And our sense of identity, our sense of self-worth tends to be tied to our job. So when we lose the job or repeatedly get rejected, it doesn't just feel like a professional setback. It feels like a personal rejection. And like, I'm not good enough, something like this, right? Especially when the message comes in day after day. And so at some point, the brain starts thinking, oh, maybe it's true. I'm not good enough. And that's part of the challenge, okay? Today, I want you to give yourself permission to actually say, yeah, it hurts. You don't have to minimize it. You don't have to be positive about it because what you feel is real, okay? But the key is make sure it doesn't control your decisions and your actions because there's a difference between acknowledging the pain, which I want you to, it's real, but don't let it define you. And so today I want to give you a few tools to actually get out of that and not let it define you. Okay. The first thing we're going to do, and we're going to do it together, I want you to grab a pen and paper, is I want you to write down the biggest lie you tell yourself when you get rejected. And I know I will say this because, for example, my husband is older than me, and some of the narrative that came up was like, well, they think I'm overqualified and I'm going to want a lot of money, or that I'm old and I'm going to retire soon, right? And I'm too old and they don't want to hire, there could be discrimination against older people, and all these narratives, whether it's I'm too old, I'm not qualified enough, or I'm overqualified, or nobody wants what I have to offer, right? Whatever that lie is, I want you to put it down on paper. And I'll give you like a few seconds to write that down. All of us are telling ourselves stories. What is that one story you're telling yourself when you get that rejection? Now, once you finish writing that down, and take your time, don't rush it, okay? Because that's going to be, I'm going to have you have something to keep after we do that exercise. I want you to write down 3 undeniable facts, not feelings, facts that prove that that lie is wrong. So, for example, if you tell yourself I'm not qualified enough, look at the things you've accomplished, right, in the past. Look at the seasons you've survived previously, whatever that is. I'm too old. Look at the people who are still employed or getting jobs, even though they're much older. He got a job ultimately, I can tell you that, right? Some companies saw the value that he brought. So look at facts that you can really look at and that actually disprove that lie that you're telling yourself. 3 facts. It may not be as easy to find them, but I want you to find 3 facts and write those down. And once you have, I would love for you to raise your hand and share what you wrote. So we can share at least 2, 3 people. I would love because I'm telling you, some of the ideas that other people hear, it will help other people.
I'll stick my neck out there and first off say thanks for the patience as I keep trying to get back in. The system was terrible. Anyway, it's I've had to reboot, but mine is the lie I tell myself, and this is thanks to Adam always saying nice things about me. I'm not as good as I think I am at what I do. Is what I tell myself constantly. So, yeah.
What are 3 facts then that you can observe in your outer world that disprove that lie?
I've been promoted before doing what I do, so I guess that's the first one, right? And
I love
it's in the
that.
past, and it's a fact, yeah. Uh, People do engage with me and ask me for my expertise and what I do or what I think, in my space. And then the last one, I guess this is sort of me telling myself the fact is I don't stop. So there must be something in there that's true that drives me to keep bringing it to people. So those are my 3 facts, I guess, if you will.
I really like that. Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
Kale.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
For me, I was like telling myself, like, I mean, I guess I get it, like, I tell a lie to myself. They probably sense I don't have the confidence, but I think in the past, with the past interviews I've had, it's also been, I think maybe my energy is a little way too high, but at the same time, they like my enthusiasm, but I did not deliver what was really exactly that they were looking for. But now, coming as I've been, as time has passed and evolved, I'm feeling a lot more confident that whatever next interview that comes my way, I'll be able to nail it. So that's the new phase I'm in right now. Yeah.
I like
So
that, Jimmy.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, me
Thank
too.
you. Great share. Okay.
Anybody else?
All right, that's okay. I want you, you know, you should have now something, right? And I want you, every time you get a rejection, look at this, because that's not the truth, right? Before it starts becoming a spiral, right? And really going on the train of, in your brain, it's translated as I'm not good enough or what's wrong with me, right? Look at that. Look at the facts. Jim, you want to add?
Oh, yes. I'm going through a difficult transition right now. I'm in business intelligence, and I have a lot of experience in a reporting tool that doesn't have a big market share. And I'm trying to move into things like Tableau and Power BI, but I'm, I guess, worried that I'm not going to be able to find a job in technology. And I, there are all kinds of things that tell me that's not true. But I actually interviewed for a job selling insurance today, and it's not really what I want to do. I don't have to do it, but anyway, that's where I'm sitting right now. So,
Yeah, I love that you shared that. So, um, I'm big on scarcity mindset. And so obviously, if you want to do insurance, go for it. If you don't really want to do it and
yeah,
can hang on a little longer financially, right? That's another
right,
piece of the puzzle. Then
yeah,
focus and say, no, I'm going to get that job. And especially if you make the list, no, there's still a need for this in the world market, in the market, right? Focus on
right.
that. Don't let any other stories take off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not what I want to do, insurance.
Mhm.
I, well, it's attractive that I'd be able to start. I'd have to get a license and be trained and everything,
Yeah.
wouldn't get paid. I wouldn't get,
There's a lot of work to do.
and
Exactly.
I wouldn't have any kind of benefits. So I really don't want to do that. So
So
anyway,
I think the
focus.
if I
Yeah.
can if I can jump in, Jim, and say the one thing to you, and this is going to come off sounding like it's cheerleading, but you
yeah,
might be surprised who you meet during that journey in selling insurance, and I mean that both in terms of clients, customers, fellow agents. You just never know who is one degree away from someone with that Power BI
uh,
role that you're. I mean, don't shut a door. Go through the door and see what doors come after it. Sometimes that happens, and I speak from
yeah.
experience on that. So you know, yeah, use that for what
Well,
it's worth.
well, right now I think on plan or insurance is a fallback plan that I hope I don't have to use. So anyway, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jim. And Crystal? And we'll keep moving.
So this job search has been humbling for me because I was used to, I put my resume out and I wouldn't have to wait long before I was swarmed by recruiters. So I guess the biggest lie rejection is telling me is I'm not the rock star I thought I was.
Mm.
Um, so, but I know that I am still, and here's the thing, for all the folks saying that they're too old, that thought has never even entered in my brain. I work actively to protect that my age isn't shown in my profile, my resume, but I've never thought I was too old. I still want to do this. I still love what I'm doing. I am still good enough and getting better. I've taken this time to kind of lean into some AI skills, and I just got off the phone with a friend of mine. He is working on something on the recruiter sides of things. I have been working on something on the job seeker side of things, and we're thinking we might have a product that we want to build together utilizing
Nice.
AI. So that's where we're at. So my experiments with working with ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini are turning into something that I think might become maybe not my primary path, but maybe a secondary path, maybe a side path. It could be my side role. So
Hustle.
anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
keeping
Yes.
me busy and it's keeping my skills up and giving me new things to put on my resume. And so there we go.
Yeah, but you're still a
I'm
rock star. Just remember,
I'm
and
still
That's
a
thank you for
rock
doing
right.
star.
too.
Just
You're still a
nobody
rock
knows it
star.
yet.
Okay, and
Nobody
that's
knows it yet.
yes, that's better. Thank you.
No,
Exactly.
we know
And
it. We know it, Lou. We
yeah,
know it, Crystal.
Oh,
Come on now.
thank you.
Yeah, I
I'll
was
throw
just going
mine
to
in
say,
here
believe
and then we
me.
can move forward.
Yeah,
Mine is
yeah,
more subtle actually. It's and
Okay.
it's a subtle cynicism, and it's of course, why would they hire me? It's that replays in my head. It's like, of course, why would they bother? Why would I bother? That's a that's a pernicious one. I think a lot of people struggle with that. Maybe not explicitly that particular
Yeah.
phrase, but I've heard a lot of people say that before. And that's one I struggle with. It's
yeah,
deep, because it's all sorts of lies compiled into 4 words, of
Yes.
course, 4 or 5 words. Why would they? And so yeah, we don't have to discuss that, but that's mine. I'm wondering if anybody else may have that on their list. All right, we can move.
Yes.
yeah.
I hope you have your 3 things that disprove it. Okay, awesome. So let's talk about how you can keep going, all right, and keep showing up. So I want to reframe what showing up means, right? Because right now your brain is measuring usually like every day by one of those metrics. Did I get a job? Did I hear back from a recruiter? Or did I get selected for the next round, right? And if the answer is no, which unfortunately it might be most of the case, most of the times, right? Then every day starts feeling like a failure. And even though you did everything right. And so the first thing we want to do is change the metric, right? Instead of measuring the day by outcomes, and that's why I love the way you started the meeting, by the way, Adam, because outcomes you can't really control fully, especially in this market. You want to measure your effort, your process, the activities you're doing, right? Did you send 3 applications today? Did you reach out to 1 contact? Did you prepare for 1 interview, right? Did you take care of yourself? These are wins, right? And those are the things you can control and they count. And that's what I want you to start measuring instead of the rest. If you're not already doing it, I want you to start making a checklist of those things. Why? Because there's a lot of satisfaction in crossing off things, and it rewires your brain to think, whoa, I feel accomplished today. Even though the results, obviously, that you're ultimately seeking are still pending. Okay? And so maybe you write application number 1, application number 2, application number 3. Yes, give yourself that little dopamine hit when you check it off, right? Because it's going to reinforce that sense of accomplishment. And guess what? When you have an interview, you're going to show up even better because it builds resilience. The other piece is consistency, right? The hard truth is about a long job search is motivation is not always going to be there. So sometimes you just have to do before you feel motivated, right? Taking action is what's going to trigger that motivation. Discipline is more important. And that's why I absolutely love writing things down. And I hope you can pick that up now as a habit because also on top of what Adam shared, when you come here and you hold each other accountable, when you write it down, there's science proving that you're much more likely to do it. Okay? And so writing things down, this is my intention for tomorrow. I'm going to do this, right? That's going to help you. Especially when you don't feel motivated. The other thing is protecting your mental energy and that means every day I want you to block at least 1 hour that has nothing to do with job search, where you're not a job seeker. Maybe you're a parent, maybe you're a runner, a reader, a cook, a friend. Protect that hour. This is your space where your worth is not up for negotiation. And that's very important in maintaining your confidence and performing well in job interviews because this part, you're in control and you can be proud of yourself. How can I show up as a friend today? Protect that 1 hour. Or how can I just read for myself today for an hour just for pleasure? Or cook something 1 hour where you're in a different role than a job seeker. Okay? And protect that. I want to talk about when the rejection comes in, right? A 3-step process that you can use. First one is Give yourself 20 minutes to feel it. Yep, feel it, but not 20 hours. Because when you, some of you may want to set a timer, right? If it hits you hard every time, set a timer. Put a timer for 20 minutes. Say, no, I'm only going to pout about it for 20 minutes. I'm only going to allow myself to feel the disappointment and the frustration and the anger for 20 minutes. Then it's over. Okay, then you can, I suggest writing it down and saying it out loud, right? This rejection is about fit, timing, or something else, but it has nothing to do with my value. Nothing to do with my value and what I bring to the table. And then I want you to redirect it. By that, you can ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do in the next hour that moves me forward? One small thing. It could be sending one email. It could be updating a section of your LinkedIn. It could be taking a walk, but something that's going to move you forward. Because that gives you the sense of agency back, the sense of control back. Okay? Good with that? Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about silence. Because in some ways, sometimes silence is worse than rejection. Because at least rejection, you have an answer. Silence, the brain starts filling the void with the worst stories, okay? And it can feel really, really personal. So when you hear nothing after applying, after interviewing, or even after following up, your brain starts telling yourself that it's a confirmation of the lie you've been telling yourself earlier. And here's, the reality of the current hiring landscape. Companies are overwhelmed. There's ATS systems filtering candidates before even a human sees it, right? Roles that are being posted and then frozen. I've seen this so many times because I worked on the HR side too. And ghosting, unfortunately, has become a systemic failure, right? But it's not a personal judgment of you. So what can you do, right, with this silence? The most dangerous thing is to stay in it and let it take, take a whole movie, okay? Waiting and refreshing your inbox to look for emails is not helping either. Have set times. I'm checking my email maybe once a day, right? And then I do not keep checking it because then it's taking a hold of you. So set up boundaries, right? Have specific times when you're going to check your emails, for example. Also set up a follow-up boundary. You send one follow-up email maybe after 1 week of silence. And after that, close the loop, move on, right? You can't control their response, but you did your job and you can control your peace. And then redirect your energy, right? So it could be send one more application. It could be talk to your friend, go for a walk, whatever it is. Use your energy towards something else, okay? Another thing I want you to remember is silence is not information, right? If a company ghosts you, it may also be a sign that this may not be the company you want to work for, because what kind of culture do they have? Okay. I will tell you this from my personal story, not that they ghosted me per se, but they chose not to hire me initially. And when I got declined and I really thought I was a great fit, I was kind of bummed, yeah. But I later found out, a year later, I reapplied. I got the job, by the way. And I found out that if I had come on board 1 year earlier, it would have been a complete disaster. Because the team was a complete chaos. They were backlogged. They were working probably 80 hours a week. And this is not the kind of life I would have wanted. So by the time I came in, things were actually a little bit more organized. And I don't think I would have stayed there. And so sometimes you don't know, but the fact that this is not lining up may be a good thing. So reframe it differently, right? What if it's a blessing? And I also want you to start a win file. On your phone or in a journal, wherever, record every little positive moment. Maybe it's a great conversation with a recruiter, no matter what happens next. Don't be attached to the outcome, right? Maybe it's a compliment from a former colleague, or Kale and Adam, or just sharing, you're amazing, right? A moment where you showed up well, even with your family, for example, right? And when silence really gets loud, open that WIN file. Open that WIN file. It will help you get back to where you need to be. Okay. I have a few more techniques I really like to use when it feels like it's too much, when it's really loud, right? And those I call grounding techniques. There's the 5-4-3-2-1 method, which brings you back into your body. And when you feel overwhelmed or anxious, or like your thoughts are spiraling, you can try this. And maybe you can do it at the same time, right? Or at least do one of the each as we go through this. The first thing is name 5 things you can see right now. Right? Think of one right now. Even if you just think of one, name 5 things you can see. Feel free to put them in the chat if you want to, by the way. Then is name 4 things you can physically feel. It could be your feet are on the floor, the chair under you, the temperature of the air, right? A glass I'm holding, something. Then name 3 things you can hear. Could be right now I hear an airplane outside. Name 2 things you can smell. Right? I had my coffee earlier. I can smell the coffee still. And name 1 thing you can taste. After you do this, you literally calm your nervous system down because you're back into your body instead of letting your thoughts spiral. Because now I made you focus on being present, right? And that takes you 5 minutes. And I promise you, you'll have a much better day afterwards, or rest of your day, right? It's going to shift you from threat mode to I'm back into the present. Another one is the box breathing, and it's for kind of like a breath work technique that's used by the Navy SEALs, by the way, to regulate their nervous system under pressure. So if it works for them, I'm pretty sure it works for you too. And if some of you have tried it before, it's you breathe in for 4, and we can all do it together at least one time, and then you can practice at home. Breathe in for 4. So I'm going to count, and then I'll tell you to do breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you would repeat that 3 or 4 times. And after you do that, you're going to be a lot more relaxed. And guess what? When your body is relaxed, your mind cannot be racing. The two are always in sync. So if you bring your body back down, automatically everything is going to slow down and you're going to be more centered. And I would highly recommend you do this before an interview or after a rejection or any time anxiety is running the show. Okay. The third technique is a body scan. So when you get too much in your head and you're telling yourself those lies or those stories, right? Replaying the rejection or whatever it is, right? Or the frustration of why you haven't heard back on anything. Close your eyes and take one, all of you can close your eyes right now. Let's do it. Take one slow breath, first of all. And then start at the top of your head and slowly scan your whole body. And notice where you're holding tension. Start with your jaws, your shoulders, your chest. It could be in your stomach. And when you find it, breathe into it and consciously release it. And you may need to take a few breaths, like take a big breath to release that tension in a very specific spot. And release it. Once you're finished, you can open your eyes. How does it feel, everybody? Do you feel more relaxed? Yeah, I hope you do. Okay. The one thing I want to share, and then we'll kind of wrap it up, is there's the weight we'll talked about, right? But I want to talk about at home, right? Many of you are carrying the pressure, not just the pressure of finding a job, but the guilt of feeling like you're letting your family down if you have a family. And you want to come home with good news, right? You want to be strong, but when a day has been full of silence or rejection, right? It can be hard to sit at the dinner table and not feel like a failure. I want you to remember that being vulnerable is not a weakness. Your family does not need you to be a superhero who never struggles. They just need you to be honest. It's okay to say, today was hard. I'm feeling discouraged, but I'm not giving up. All right? Let them see that you're navigating a setback, but with resilience, and that they can be there for you and support you. And sometimes you may need to even say, you know what? I just need your support. I don't want your questions. I don't want you to tell me what to do. I don't want any more pressure. I just need your support, or I just need a hug. It's okay to ask for what you really need, right? And for those of you who have kids, right, they're gonna watch you go through this. And you're teaching them something that's super important right now. That you're showing them what it looks like to show up when there's adversity and to still have dignity, right? To show up and that you still have your worth and it's not tied to your job title. And that's a lesson they'll remember way after you've landed your job. So I'm gonna just kind of do a quick recap of the tools we talked about today, if you don't take a snapshot of it, and practice them. I promise you it will carry you through that rejection, carry you through that silence, or showing better for your family. If you do one of the, breathing techniques or whatever before your family comes home, you're going to be a much better person for it. So any questions?
Wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's go into questions. And looks like Carlo got his hand up there first. Have at it, bro.